appreciate being here and appreciate y'all having us. It's a highlight for us to always get the year started and welcome some guests from Kansas City, and our field manager is also here, and hopefully give some exciting updates about our upcoming season. As mentioned, I've gotten to do this now. My boss actually asked me this the other day, how many years have you been with us? Because he's doing an orientation, and I was like, gosh, I have to count on all these hands now. It's the 23rd year I've had the privilege of getting to do this. I've had pretty much the same boss throughout. I love doing it. I get to work with a lot of great people who are in this room and get supported by a lot of great people who are in this room. So that doesn't go unnoticed, and it's why we get to do what we do. So appreciate again the support we've gotten from this community, and appreciate being here to give some updates today. Shawn Murnin, our broadcaster, is going to take over from me here in a second, introduce our guests. But we have Mitch Meyer, the Director of Player Development for the Kansas City Royals, is here. And then Brooks Conrad, he's returning in their second year as our field manager. So they'll kind of be up here with Shawn to give a little update on the season and things that are happening at the big league level and here with the Naturals. So I'll turn it over there in just a second to those gentlemen. As we get ready for this coming year, it's always fun to look back just a little bit. We always hope every year coming up is going to be the most exciting year, and we hope the same. Last year was great, though. A lot of highlights. We started the year off. We had Jack Caglione on our roster. A lot of excitement there. Carter Jensen. The reason I mentioned both of them is they ended the year in Kansas City, and that's always exciting for any player. But to see two guys go from AA to the big leagues and have a great impact, and I'm sure hopefully have a continued great impact, it's always a lot of fun. Cags got us started with, I think it was a 464-foot home run on opening day last year, so it's a tough act to follow for this year's group, but I'm confident they'll be able to do it. And then Noah Cameron, he pitched in Kansas City this year. Again, I'll let those guys talk more about his credentials, but I think it's, you have Caglione and Carter were very high draft picks, so in some ways you almost expect them to make it. Not that you didn't expect Noah, but he just kept plugging away and made it up there, and I think he was 4th in Rookie of the Year voting, and just a tremendous player. So I think that's part of the reason I love doing this is still getting to be a fan and seeing all these different ways these guys can make it to the major leagues, and obviously for the Royals, I love getting to see so many former Naturals get up there and make a big impact. And then you have the holdovers. That guy Bobby Witt Jr. is pretty good, and he played here a few years back. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have Salvador Perez, who played here back in 2011. So I'm excited for that big league team to get going, but then in turn, I'm excited to hear about who will be on the field for us here with the Naturals here in just a few months. It is already the 19th year of Arvest Ballpark. It's hard to believe, but it doesn't feel like that when you come to the facility, and that's the pride we try to take in it. Is we want to make it as good of a building as we inherited when we popped in there, and I think we officially took occupancy in March of 2008. I remember when I moved here in the fall of 07, giving tours and pointing up at the suite level where there was nothing there to point at, and when they put the sod down on the field. So it's exciting to be that far along, but a lot of the improvements we're focused on are trying to keep the building as beautiful as it was when it was built. So, working on, paint and concrete and HVAC, the things that are going to carry that building into the future is what we spend a lot of our focus on. We are upgrading our home plate deck this year as a fan amenity, and we're obviously looking at the different areas of the experience coming up. We did put out some of our promotions this morning. We have 18 fireworks shows. Home opener is on Tuesday, April 7th. A 6-game series to start us off. We actually open on the road this year in Wichita, so the team will get in, we'll get to kind of do our media introduction and everything, and then they'll go to Wichita for a couple days before coming back. But we'll open up on the 7th, giving away some wiffle balls and bats. But 18 fireworks shows. The two biggest ones, July 3rd and 4th, being home on that Friday, Saturday, is just going to be a huge weekend, and we're already looking forward to that. We're home on Father's Day this year. We were home on Mother's Day last year, so it's nice to kind of keep hopefully getting in that rotation. So we'll have a giveaway on that day. Star Wars Night's coming back. That's in early June. We moved our Faith and Family Night back into June and put fireworks back on that date, so that'll be on June 20th. We're doing Harry Potter Night again for any Harry Potter fans out there. We're doing a cap giveaway for that this year, and then we'll have 3 bobbleheads as well. We didn't announce those quite yet, but you could probably guess that it's Bobby Witt Jack Hagley and Carter Jensen. So we'll get those dates out there soon for those as we work through the last process of getting those created. But always a lot of fun to try to put that together. There's more to come. There's more promotions for us to announce. We got a lot of the stuff out there today, but we're still fine-tuning a couple last items. So you'll keep hearing that from us as we get ready. But again, I don't want to take up all the time that we have for our guests here, but I'll just kind of wrap by saying we're very excited. We're hopeful that we've put together a great schedule and hopeful that it'll be, again, our best season yet. Tickets are available now, both from one game to every game. So if you want to get on the website or come see us, we can help you out and get you set up to come visit us as much as you want this upcoming year. So we kind of keep that website up to date, but we always welcome you to come by and see us. We're happy to show you around, show you what's new, and how we can best help you out. Come out and enjoy a Naturals game this upcoming year. But yeah, I guess, the one other thing I did want to mention now I think about it, looking back at last year. So in 2024, we got a call from the Houston Astros saying that you're going to have a rehab. And that's kind of one of those things in the minor leagues. You don't always want to see that because it means someone got hurt. But that's also one of the unique things is you can get one of those guys that made it to the big leagues coming back. So from the Royals side, I don't ever want to see him because you don't want him to get hurt. But from the visiting side, we got a call and they're like, you're going to have Justin Verlander pitching. I was like, oh, okay. That's different, especially on the road. So he came and pitched here in August, and I remember telling our staff, like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Take it in and enjoy it. And then last April, we got a call from the Dodgers on a Tuesday morning saying, you're going to have another rehab, Clayton Kershaw. I was like, all right, well, I guess I wasn't right about once in a lifetime. It's now twice in a lifetime. So he pitched against us last April on a Tuesday. So I don't know what this year will hold, but maybe it'll be 3 times in a lifetime we'll get another one of these road rehabbers. I don't know if there's any future Hall of Famers quite on that level, but those were, besides the day-to-day things that I love, those were 2 things that I hope you're able to get to see. If not, though, always stay in tune with who's coming in to play us, because as I've seen, you never know who might be on that roster for a day or 2. So again, without further ado, I will turn it over to Shawn Murnin, our broadcaster, and he'll welcome our guests up here and take over from there. But again, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it, and can't wait to get things going here in just under 3 months. Thank you.
Shawn, I don't think this is on. Yeah, it is. We just have weird issues. I'm hopeful that one works better.
Yeah. See if this thing goes up high enough. Is that all right? Everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Like I said, I'm loud. It's my job to speak. I'm Shawn. I'm the broadcaster for the Naturals. This will be my 4th season. Thank you guys so much for having us, and thanks to our guests for coming along. We have our manager, Conrad, who's going into his 2nd year with the team. It was also his birthday on Friday, so happy birthday, Brooks.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Like I said, 2nd year with the Naturals. 2026 will be his 8th year as a manager in the system. He started with the Burlington Royals in 2018, and he's made his way up through the ranks to now be our AA manager here. He was an 8th round draft pick by the Houston Astros in 2001. He went to Arizona State University, and he played almost 300 games over 6 seasons at the major league level, including with the Atlanta Braves, where he played in the postseason. So he's got a very robust track record and resume that's gotten him to this point. And then we have the Royals Director of Player Development, Mitch Meyer, who's also a draft pick. He was a 1st rounder in 2003, right, Mitch?
Yes.
Okay. This will be his 5th year as the Director of Player Development. He was also the Director of Baseball Operations for the Royals for their minor league system. He's also the Royals' first base coach for 2 years in 2018 and 2019. He has 359 games of major league experience, all with Kansas City over 6 years. And as I mentioned, 1st round pick out of University of Toledo. So again, very grateful for these guys coming and joining us today. And I guess before we can get started on 2026, I kind of wanted to see what Brooks thought about 2025 in his 1st year with the team and with the Naturals. So Brooks, how do you, now that you've gotten some distance from it, how do you look back on the 25 season?
I think it was very successful. I mean, the minor league level is, we talk about a lot of wins and losses over player development, and we are all in this job for the players, and we're developing these players to try to get them to the highest level, which is the major leagues. And so, wins and losses wise, if you look at it, we were just a few games under 500, I think. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's a pretty good season. I think our guys competed really well. I think last season was one of the highest rates of roster changeover we've had for the most reason. Guys were playing well and moving up to the next level. Justin touched on it already in his short speech that we had a couple guys get called up and make it to Kansas City and play in the big leagues towards the end of the year. And when it all comes down to it, that's what we're trying to do, even at our AA level. So I think overall it was really, really good season. We were still in the playoff race towards the last couple weeks of each half, and just came up short of making the playoffs. But you know, so it was a very successful season in my first go around here at this level. The other thing I want to touch on before turn over to Mitch is this AA level that you guys have a AA affiliate here in this town. Beautiful area, beautiful ballpark, incredible facility, and this AA level is kind of right there where these guys are starting to do well. They play well at this level. They have a really good shot at being in the big leagues very, very soon. I mean, we had 2 from our team that started the roster, make it up to Kansas City. So the level of baseball and competition at this AA level here in Springdale is really, really good baseball. And you've seen some guys that are going to be, you know, the future of the game. Every team that comes through has a few players that are doing well at this level that you're going to see them on TV at the major league level here very soon. So that's a really cool part about my job is to get to manage a group of players that's at a stage in their career where they're really close to making up to the major league level. So overall, it was a really positive season for us.
Mitch, I'd ask the same thing of you, except can you take more of a system-wide approach to it? Because I don't know how you do it, but Mitch has to watch the major league team because his office is in Kansas City, and then he keeps an eye on AAA, AA, High A, A-ball, Rookie League, any of the overseas leagues and foreign leagues and stuff. So, I mean, you really get a good picture of how everybody's doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, Brooks touched on it. You know, at every level across our entire system, we're trying to put a winning product on the field. We want to teach guys how to win baseball games. That's part of being a major league player is being a winning major league player, while we focus on their development and balance those. And Brooks and our entire staff does a great job of balancing their developmental needs, which takes patience. It takes, you know, at times growth, as we know. Sometimes you got to, you know, go through those growing pains, so to speak. And that's what our staff is there to do. And when we place players at certain levels, it's putting them at a level to where they're going to grow and continue to fine-tune those skills to take that next step to help us win in Kansas City is ultimately what we're trying to do. And again, system-wide, we have a great staff. If you look at you know, our Dominican Academy, where we just had International Signing Day take place last week, all the way up to our AAA staff, into the major league staff. There's development that takes place even there as young players transition into the major leagues. So you know, development's at the forefront, but also teaching players how to be winning caliber players and is equally as important to us. And our staff does a great job. And last year again was a good step in that direction for us. We fell, you know, we were 4 games under where we were at in Kansas City. We missed the playoffs. Obviously last year after returning to the playoffs in 2024. But you look at Bobby and you look at the season Michael had, being able to break out. We talked about Jack Caglione, you know, coming out of the draft class in 2024 and making his major debut, taking steps from here into Omaha and then finishing the season in Kansas City. Carter Jensen, who started the season here last year, and the growth that he had last year. You know, those 2 being key fixtures of our future, along with Michael and Bobby, and then on the pitching side, Noah Cameron, with what he's been able to do, joining, you know, Cole Reagans and Chris Bubich, in the group at the big league level with Walker and Lugo. So we're really excited for this season and what's to come. And then the other thing I'll mention, you know, and Brooks mentioned this and Justin mentioned this, but you know, Arvis Ballpark, you know, has stood the test of time, so to speak. You know, Major League Baseball's across the industry, 120 minor league affiliates has, you know, standardized certain things from a facility standpoint, and to go to Arvis Ballpark and see how well it's been maintained in the environment, developmental environment and facility that our players get to come to at such a crucial level. We couldn't be happier. And then just the community. You know, my opportunity to come do this each year, But then I see the community. When I first came here was 2015, when I first came and saw this ballpark for the first time, and seeing the community, whether it's I'm on Sunset or I don't even think Don Tyson exit was maybe even there at that time, but just seeing the growth in the community that our players get to be a part of as they embark on this journey and continue this journey towards the major leagues. We couldn't be more pleased to be here in Springdale and with the Naturals.
I think one of the things that's gotten lost when we talk about prospects and things like that is the Royals historically have been very good at producing catchers. They're starting to do it again now. You've got two catchers between Carter Jensen and Blake Mitchell that are ranked in the top 100 prospects in baseball. You also have two more guys on the top 30 list that they put together. What has gone in system-wide for you guys to be able to do so well at developing those guys? Because we're not even talking about Salvi or Freddie Fermin or any of those guys. I mean, what have you guys done that you like about developing catchers?
Yeah, no, we've done a tremendous job, and you mentioned starting with Sal and then Freddie, who we traded to San Diego last year, and Carter, as he's still a very young catcher, and young in his professional career, but the strides he's been able to make, and then Blake, extremely talented on both sides of the ball. Ramon Ramirez, a young promising catching prospect that was in Colombia. We've done a great job selecting, and then J.C. Boscan, our catching coordinator, and the other coaches that we've put around. We've had a catching coach at every level the last few years. They've done a tremendous job following through with that plan. But it starts with the acquisition of the player, getting good talent, and our scouts been able to identify those players and get them in the system, and then starting to develop them and having JC in lockstep with those catchers. Again, and it has been a strength of our organization for the last few years, and really it's been a strength of the organization starting from when Sal made his debut in 2011. He's been cornerstone of that major league team, and we've now been able to fill players in and depth in behind him.
Brooks, so what does it look like for you when those guys get here and they come with that pedigree, right? You know who they are when they get to the ballpark. For you, how do you look at your job as far as molding them to get them ready for AAA or the big leagues?
And my job as a manager is a lot different. We have, he touched on J.C. Boscan. I have a former teammate of mine, no better coordinator to have in that area of the game as a catching coordinator. He's one of the best catchers that I've ever played with, and now he's in the catching coordinator role and does an incredible job developing these guys and their skills catching-wise. My job as a manager is to kind of help them grow, help them learn, help them through the adversity. Teach them perspective, whether it's aside from the baseball game itself, just life perspective, going through the tough times, kind of get them over and through, the stepping stones that you have to go through of this game. This game is not easy to play, especially every level you talk about, like I talked about, getting up to this level. That means that they're extremely talented players. They've put a lot of hard work in to get better and to be able to compete at the next level. But there's still a lot of different things that you have to keep going and keep learning to keep playing this game. So my job is to kind of help them through the tough times. As I say, be more of like a father figure to these guys, and just kind of helping them through and kind of showing them the ways that I went about it when I was a player, and this is how I got through the hard times, and this is what I can share to you when I went through some tough times and maybe didn't have the right mindset and went through it went about it the wrong way. And so, I can kind of share those life experiences that I had in this game with these players that kind of help them go about it the best way that they can to keep their window open as long as they can in this game and create more opportunities. Because in this game, like I mentioned, it's so hard to play this game. It's so hard to produce every single day at a high level. And so we're just trying to give these guys the best, to give themselves the best chance to go out there and compete and play, because we know that there is going to be struggles. We know that there is going to be adversity. And so kind of tell them that up front, like, hey, embrace the fact that there is going to be a whole lot of adversity. Embrace the fact that there's going to be failure. And now let's talk about what are some ways we can go about, dealing with that failure and, keep competing through that failure and adversity every single day. So I guess that's kind of my answer to that question is I get to be more kind of like their father figures during the season and, kind of help them through the hard times and see if I can help them get to that next level that way.
Has that changed from level to level as far as how you, maybe what information you give them, knowing that they could be one bad day away from being in the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, like I talked about, this level in AA, they're right there knocking on the doorstep. We have, like we talked about, Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen started with us, ended the season in the big leagues, and now they're making bobbleheads of these guys, and they're going to hand them out next season. That's pretty wild to think about. But no, like I said, at the lower levels, yeah, it's a lot different. These guys are a little bit further away, but you always kind of have to remind them that you're really not that far away if you can get a little bit more of a consistent approach to their skills on the field and also life skills off the field.
Mitch, you had talked about the international signing class recently, and that is going around as one of the best in Major League Baseball. It's always interested me as far as international scouting goes, because you guys are genuinely scouting teenagers, right? When you get down into South America and Latin America. And so what goes into it from your side to be able to identify that talent? And a lot of it's kind of the volatile projectability, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't deal directly with the scouting side of the international. And Daniel Guerrero is our director of international scouting in our international departments, overseen by Rene Francisco. But yes, they are. It is projecting. It's the hardest thing we do is the scouting side of things, as far as projecting young players on what they're gonna turn into when they're in their 20s. But you're looking at a 15-year-old player or a 16, 17-year-old player here in the United States. So it is extremely difficult, and it takes experience and it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of questions, getting to understand the player, know what makes them tick. Obviously, there's projecting them physically, but also their makeup, and understanding their work ethic, and how are they going to handle some of the adversities that this game will give them. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes from our scouting department, both on the international side and domestic, to understand the players, get to know the players, get to know their families, before we make a selection or sign a player internationally. And it's a tremendous class, and I was just down there last week. So that's my first introduction, is more when I get a chance to go down for signing day. Now they enter into the player development system, and we'll be able to walk them through as they prepare for their first season, in the DSL, and they'll start climbing and ascending, through their careers as well. And again, there's no script to it. Some players, it goes slow early. They're going through so much. Not only are they playing baseball at the highest level, some of them are away from home for the first time, and then they're just growing in age and in maturity as well. So there's a lot of dynamics that go into it. And our job on the development side is to meet them with where they're at, provide the resources, the best coaches, the best resources available to help them develop at each step. And again, we've had players. Kendi Churio, we had a player last year that went from the Dominican Summer League, and finished the year in Colombia. And then there will be players that might need to spend 2 years at the Dominican Academy before they transition over to the United States. So it's all part of the system. And again, how we acquire players, whether it's internationally, our amateur draft, and then via trade at times, as we've done. In acquiring a Matt Strom this year, or Isaac Collins, to help support our major league team.
I think it's great too, because just in the last couple of years, Michael Garcia was an all-star last year. Luinder Avila is part of that program. He made his major league debut last year. So not only are they identifying those guys, but then they're developing them, as Mitch was talking about, to be ready for the big stage there. And you guys had a lot of our former guys end up making their big league debuts last year, between Luinder and you think about Noah Cameron and some of those guys. What is it like for you, knowing that you're seeing them from stage one all the way up until they're going to the big leagues? And Noah Cameron had arguably one of the best left-handed pitching rookie seasons that we've seen in a while. Yeah, no,
that's the most rewarding part of what we do, and I can say it for myself. I know a lot of our other coaches and staff feel the same, as getting able to see a player and see the growth of the player, knowing where they started. You see the talent, and you see each step of the way, and you get to kind of see behind the curtains. It wasn't always easy for Noah Cameron, a player that when we selected was coming off of Tommy John surgery, which slowed him down early in his professional career. But we knew there was talent there, and again, he's turned into a tremendous, pitcher at the major league level. Mike Kell, someone that, again, he's a young player that's going and maturing and comes from a long lineage of baseball family, and you can see the talent, and just watching him continue to grow, continue to mature, seeing him, every step of the way, even at the major league level, go through some ups and downs, and then continue to see that talent shine like it did this year. It's really rewarding as a coach or someone that gets to work in development to see the players chase their dreams, see them develop and turn into quality ball players. And it's not the case for everyone, but our goal and our mission is to develop every player to their ceiling, but also create good young men. That's it's extremely important to us. When we go through our I'm talking about developing them as great baseball players, but great men as well, to where when they're done with their baseball careers, they're better because of their time spent with us, regardless of how long they played in this game or how long they're in our organization. They need to be better prepared for life because they were with us. We're at such an impactful time in these young men's lives that we have to take that responsibility of both again, develop them as young men and citizens to go out into society when they're done, but also reach their ceiling and their talent level as baseball players.
Brooks, what's it like for you to be in the clubhouse and be able to go and tell those guys, hey, the guy that you've been playing with for the last 4 years, he made it, you can get there too?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Mitch talked about the feeling, rewarding feeling about doing what we do. What a cool opportunity that we have just to impact these young men's life, basically. And what a cool organization it is that the Kansas City Royals, have given me the opportunity to do something like that. And I think that's what's so awesome about this Kansas City Royals organization is that what Mitch said, he truly believes in that. From the top to the bottom, our general manager, J.J. Piccolo, tells us this all the time. Like, this is about impacting young men. And if they leave us, like Mitch talked about, if they leave us and now they're better fathers and husbands and a better character human being down the road, then that's at the base level, that's what's really important in what we do in our day in and day out. Thought processes about how we approach every player and how can we impact every player. There's no personal agendas with us. It's all complete 100% investment in these young men, in these players. And, I don't think any of us that are, staff level with the Royals take that for granted because it's really, really cool opportunity. And that we definitely don't take that for granted. We have a really cool opportunity to impact these young men's lives in a positive way. And, also while playing baseball and while teaching baseball, and how fun is that, right? We get to do all these life skills building and character building things with these guys, and then go watch them go out there and compete for us every night. So and play the game they love to play. So that's pretty cool deal.
I know a big part of that is your staff, and you
Yeah.
constantly give them credit.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I transition to 2026 quick. You have virtually the same staff coming back this year. That was announced on Friday. For you, knowing that, I realize spring training hasn't started. You guys do not know a single name that will be here outside of the coaching staff. But in your mind, what does 2026 standing here in January look like when you guys get here in April?
Yeah, it looks a lot like it did last year. It's super positive energy, relentless positive energy from our coaching staff, which is what these guys need. I mean, there's a lot of, like I talked about, ups and downs and failures and adversities that go throughout the season. So, we have to bring that positive, relentless energy for them every single day, and then that translates into the product that you guys see on the field. These guys are out there competing, and they're giving a good effort, and they're having fun competing with each other. And that's kind of what we want to see, looking at it from the fans' perspective, is the type of product that we want to put on the field out there, where you're going to see a group of guys that are really having fun doing what they're doing. They're giving a good effort. They're competing until the last out's made every single game. And so that's what we kind of look for, and I think it's going to be no different. It really hasn't been any different because of Mitch touched on the scouts, the type of character human beings that they invest and draft and identify, and then turn them over to the player development side, and us to kind of breathe that positive energy into them, and then watch that just kind of filter over into the game. So it's going to be exciting season for sure.
Mitch, what do you have for 2026? Again, I realize you're very broad view right now. There's a lot of moving parts trying to get down to Arizona, but what do you foresee, if not for the Naturals, in the system?
Yeah, no, I the rosters, we're obviously forecasting, projecting where rosters will be at. And until we get to spring and we get through those 6 weeks of spring training, we'll have a better idea where guys need to be to start the season. But some of the prospects we did talk through, I would anticipate at some point, you guys seeing here, whether it's, Drew Beam and Felix Aronde and, Ramon Ramirez, I brought up Blake Mitchell. There's a pipeline of young players, Justin Lampkin from last year's draft class. There's a pipeline of young players that will be making their way here, whether it's at the beginning of the season or at some point during the season or even in the years to come. Again, the timeline and some of it has to go with performance on how, when they reach this level. And then last year we took 2 high school players, with our first picks and Sean Gamble and Josh Hammond. And so they're adding into the depth within our prospect pool, and they'll continue to make their way here in the years to come. But as we get into it, a lot of it's just projecting where rosters will be at. Some of it will depend on how the major league team unfolds and then how we line up our rosters in AAA to support the major league team. And but they'll likely be there'll be new faces. There'll be some players that were here last year that will be back. Again, as with any year, we'll see how spring training goes and how the roster ends up. But we're excited. Again, we have our goal every night is for every one of our starting pitchers at every level to be someone that's a prospect and we view that can play in the big leagues. And I think we're getting ourselves into that position to where we're creating a pipeline for our major league team, and that is certainly our goal. And I look forward to this season. It's going to be here before we know it. So we'll be heading to spring training. We have some camps starting off even next week. We have a camp kicking off in Arizona, so we'll be going and we'll start having a better idea how the roster is going to shake out. And Brooks touched on the staff, the energy of the staff. We have 1 new addition this year, and we'll actually have five staff members or coaches, excuse me, versus last year we had 6. But and with one new individual that will be on the pitching side of things. But they'll be here and they'll do a great job, and we can't wait. Spring training is just around the corner. Can't wait for that to get here and get things going.
Well, that's all the questions that I had, so we'll open it up to a Q&A here, and anybody that has questions, just put your hand up and we'll call on everybody as best we can. I saw yours first back there.
Brooks, what you guys are talking about as far as the examples being set by leadership, when I go to spring training in Arizona, I go out there in the morning and watching the workouts, and one of the highlights is watching Salvi Perez and the other 15 catchers from down to the pitchers, whatever it is, the lower level, and they see what Salvi does. They want to be like Salvi and get to the big leagues. The examples being set not by just by the coaches, but really appreciate the fact that the players are bought in as well and working together to get the organization going.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yes.
I mean, that says it all right there. You get it, the leader of the team. You have in Salvador Perez, and you watch him the way he goes about his business, and then you got Bobby Witt, and you watch him the way he goes about his business. But you couldn't ask for 2 more incredible leaders, baseball players on the
Position by
team.
position, like for example, all the catchers are lined up going through the drills, and so the 17 and 18-year-olds are watching what Salvi does. He's given us the same effort he did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so they're going, if I want to be like, make it to the big leagues, I need to do those things. So that example really seems to be paying dividends.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and it really helps. Like, we can sit there and we try to motivate them and as much as we want, and that's what we're trying to do. But you said leadership starts from the top and trickles all the way down from the bottom. And the example set by those big league players. You saw it firsthand in spring training, and that's a really cool thing to see happen every single day. You're right.
Yes, sir.
Brooks, do you have any choice in the players you get each year?
No, that's Mitch and the front office staff. They go over and they decide, like he talked about, who belongs where, what positions can we put these guys in to succeed. If they need more time at a certain level, that's all. And I, just stay here and I take who they give me, and we'll, try to win as many games as we can with these guys, or develop them. So, but yeah, that's from the front office down. They make those decisions and where they come and go. Yeah.
Yep, right there.
So I've heard the Chiefs are leaving Arrowhead. Are Royals going to take over that whole
Oh man.
that whole area there?
It's a Mitch question.
No, I knew the stadium stuff might come up, but I don't have any news to pass along on our stadium as far as the location. There's been talks, obviously, about trying to find a new home, and I don't have anything on that. I will say, you probably saw that we are changing some of the dimensions of the outfield fences at Kaufman. So that construction will take place and be ready for opening day this year. To where there's just some modifications, anywhere from 10 feet and under on where the outfield fences now will be moved in a little bit. And there's some areas that are staying the exact same, but there is some stadium changes and renovations taking place to the outfield dimensions. While again, I don't have anything as far as where the team will be. Yeah. So yeah, no, I understand though. So.
Is Vance Wilson still hanging around up there?
He is. Yep. Yeah. It was messaging with Vance today on the way down here. But yes, he's our third base coach and Major League Field coordinator. So yeah.
Well, he's a Springdale guy.
Yeah.
By marriage.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Bridget's from here, and when Vance was managing here, those were my first couple of years coming down here when Vance was managing, and then he and I both actually went and joined the Major League coaching staff the same year in 2018. So I've known Vance very well, and I know he lives pretty close to the ballpark there in Springdale.
Way back there.
Two quick things for y'all. One, how do you see the integration of AI continuing across Major League Baseball, minor leagues, player development, coaching, so on and so forth? And the second, do the Royals do anything over and above what Major League Baseball does as far as like minor league player financial support? Because obviously that's one of the most difficult parts of playing minor league baseball is you're broke basically. So just wondering if the organization does anything to support players in that way.
So the first one was AI integration, and I'll just answer that real quick. Obviously, I think with the growth of AI, it'll continue to be something that is expanded within our industry, just again as it is with industries across the globe. I don't have specifics on anything that's at the forefront right now, but it will be continued to be something, and I would imagine that's continued to be leveraged, whether it's organization by organization on some of the things we're doing internally as a front office, or if it's broader by Major League Baseball. But I think I'll just say, like, we realize that is it's a growing it's growing day by day, and it'll be something that's we continue to be looked at. And then the second one was just, do we provide financial support, or is it like education?
I know Major League Baseball has started to have some initiatives where I think the Major League clubs are passing through revenue down to do more financial. I'm not sure 100%. I didn't know if the organization had anything specifically to help financially support the minor league guys over and above what Major League Baseball is trying to do to help them support them.
No, so a few years ago, the minor league players, they unionized as well, and there's a collective bargaining agreement in which we operate within right now. It was a 5-year agreement that it's a year behind what the major league level agreement is, but we're following within those guidelines of what some of the but and I'm going back a few years, but there were increases with how players in the minor leagues are compensated, and so there have been steps taken forward in that regard. And at this point, we are operating within what that bargaining agreement allows us to do. So.
One question, kind of piggyback off what he was asking. Are there going to be any dollar hot dog promotions this year?
Wednesday night. That's what the boss said.
Come on out.
All good?
All right, we're good.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Brooks.
You got it.